Hey there. Hey there. I've got a really good show for you today. I have two questions and I'll spend about 10 minutes with each one. One is about how it goes monetizing a YouTube channel. And I know a lot of you have thought about it, And then the second one is sort of a fantasy question. Like, what would I have done? And I'll leave it for when I get to it, okay? So you have to find out about it. Please subscribe and check your subscription. Make sure you're subscribed to my wonderful, exciting Minivan Lee show, okay? And please watch it all the way to the end. I have some good stuff all the way across. I don't put all the good stuff in the beginning or even in the middle. I put some at the end too. So let's go with this episode. I did. What in the world is this? Well, let's see. Here's the lid. I got me some loose tea. This is pretty cool. Let me get it over here. Yeah, I got this here, so this is where I parked this. But this is pretty cool. It's a tea ball that I've never done it one-handed before, but it opens up, it twists. There we go. Oh, I did it one-handed. Yeah, the tea's in here. Let me dump this. There we go. And I'll show you the tea in a minute. And you twist it and it closes. Open, close. There we go. I'll put the lid on this. Okay, English breakfast tea. Twillings. Okay, there you go. Cheers. It's not too hot. It's just right, too. But my good friend Janet, if you didn't know and you missed the last couple of episodes, she let me know that tea bags now have little micro nano particles of plastic. That's how they make the bags that the tea is in. It never ends, does it? Never ends. Here. I bought this on Amazon. It's a nice tin. I'm really glad to have this tin. And I'll be looking for more tins, okay? Because, well, I can look here in this town to see if they have like a special tea thing, because the grocery stores and Walmarts, they're not really good with the teas. What's this? It's a little magnet. What's that doing there? Oh, am I being watched and listened to? This was, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. And next I was like, what in the world is that? But I do have this and I'm really happy to have it. Let me see if I still have any. No, I'm out of all the tea bags. Yep. So I used them all up. That's good. That's good. No waste, but I don't want to be drinking plastic. It could be some of those forever chemicals that they're talking about, forever things that stay in your body forever. So, but for sure, when I get back to Tucson, I know exactly where to get some loose tea, and I bag it up myself, and I can get whatever amount I want, along with other herbs to make teas. Okay, so yeah. So thank you, Janet, for letting me know that. If there's anything else that you want to let me know, anybody that's really bad, as long as you really do know that it's really bad, yeah, let me know. One thing I have noticed, I'm going to do very briefly, I might talk more about it later, but at the gyms, they've got you're supposed to spray down your machines and everything that you use. You're supposed to spray them down with this diluted disinfectant. Well, I asked about it because sometimes what people are doing is they're going like this, and I'm sitting over there in another machine, and they're just going, and it's coming right at me, and they spray down the machine. Then they get a rag and they wipe it down instead of putting it and spraying it on the rag so it doesn't go flying. I mean, if you consider that if you're sitting in an airplane, they say somebody way at the front of the airplane sneezes, it goes all the way to the back. So I finally asked one of the workers early in the morning, I said, what is the name of that disinfectant? Because I want to do some research on it. It's called Virex, Virex. Virex 256, something like that. I think it's made in Canada. Well, I looked it up, and I've got some stats on it. It's not good. It's not good. And it irritates the eyes. It can hurt your eyes, even diluted. And it can get on your skin. I have 2 friends that go to Planet Fitness, and every once in a while their skin swells up. It causes irritation and swelling. So everybody in the gym is using that at least 20 times. Everybody. And it's using it 20 times for their machines. Even if they're doing it on the rag and they're wiping it. When we touch it now, it's getting on our hands. So I'm going to have to rethink that gym thing. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Yeah. And I did email everything to my son-in-law. He's a chemical engineer. And I asked him to look at this. It's got a data sheet. I will leave you in comments. I will pin the link to all the ingredients and information on that. If you are a gym rat and you go to the gyms all the time, this is what they're using. Okay? So, and it doesn't look good. And if it's undiluted, and we don't really know, they're mixing it up. We don't really know like what, if they're mixing it up properly, but if it's diluted, it's time to go to the emergency room if it gets on you. Seriously. Okay. Side note. So let me know if you know anything that is harmful, because I'm tired of the chemicals coming on my body and getting in me. I'm just tired of it. It's just too much. It's too much. Okay. Let's get to the first question. I think we can do this pretty quickly. This is from Jane W911. I'm about to monetize my channel. I was wondering if paying the taxes on YouTube money is complicated. Okay, so is paying taxes complicated? It's just like being self-employed. Monetizing your YouTube channel is basically, the whole premise is royalties. It's sort of like movie. If they're running a movie and they've already run the movie, you get paid for the movie, and then every time you get so many, I think it's basically, I'm going to guess, with what I've seen, it's anywhere from $10 to $15 per 1,000 views. And that's in the beginning. But as the video becomes a year or older, it becomes less and less. You kind of get like $4 per 1,000 of views, okay? And that's a view. A view is anything longer than 30 seconds. That's a view. The longer you watch, the more, this is kind of interesting. The longer the engagement, that means that you have engaged your viewers. If you can get, the longer it goes, that means it's a longer engagement. And I believe that also perks up the amount per 1,000, okay? And, so basically you're dealing with royalties. And so they don't take taxes out for you, at least not in America. I don't know any other place, but it's up to you. You're considered self-employed now, okay? And you have to figure out your self-employed taxes. And if you've never been self-employed before and paid self-employed taxes at the end of the year, you're going to have to learn that. You just fill out your taxes, and they'll say for self-employment, your business, and there you go, okay? So that's how that works. Now, what I do is I have QuickBooks Self-Employed. I have the app, okay? So if you actually have a YouTube channel going, I mean, where are you going to be filming? What's your, where, you have to decide what your expenses are for that. And then you can take that off, right? So that's why I use QuickBooks, okay? And they also keep track of my mileage for me. QuickBooks Self-Employed. And it does cost. I mean, it's almost like $21 a month. That's just, I mean, there are expenses to having a YouTube channel. There are expenses, right? And, okay, so basically, that's on the taxes. That's up to you, not them. Now, I don't know how much you make in Social Security. I don't know anything about that. But chances are, if you don't make I think that you mentioned, I live on a small fixed income from my 911 related illness and could use a little extra cash. Yeah, if you're not making that much, and with what you're going to be making at least the first year or two on YouTube, you probably are not going to have taxes. You're not going to have to deal with them. And it'll probably come up to your, yeah, it's the way the tax systems work. But you'll have to figure all that out. Oh, yeah. If you want to do it, you're going to have to figure it all out. Now, but I'm sure if it's worth the trouble, I'm currently waiting, but not sure if it's worth the trouble. I'm currently waiting for their decision. Well, let me know if you could do a video about that without giving out your personal information. Of course, I wouldn't do that. And be extremely helpful. That's basically how it works. I will mention that as far as YouTube videos go and channels, there's becoming sort of a glut of van life channels. And I've heard that there's almost like 500,000 people starting YouTube channels a day. So you really, what you'd have to do is really have a good niche. I do know that YouTube, newer channels, sometimes they will help promote them. And you'll see like this newer channel in your feed every once in a while, especially if it's your genre, like nomads, van life. They don't have hardly any subscribers, and they don't have very many views. Now, when I started, I had to have 1,000 subscribers. And I think they've cut that down to 500. I'm not sure. I forget. And you have to have, I had to have 4,000, was it 4,000 viewing hours? That's viewing hours, not minutes. I mentioned like 30. A lot of people will click on it if they don't like what they hear right away. They just click off. And sometimes they don't even make it to 30 seconds. So that's not even a view. But if they're only doing, but they need to have viewing hours. They won't monetize you, which means putting ads on your videos that you upload and feature. They won't put ads on there and pay you for them. I have heard of YouTube actually putting ads on little channels, even before they monetize them, and then they take the money. So, yeah. I remember they did that to Jack Moore, Traveling with Jack. They did that to him. He wasn't even monetized, and he was not happy. They were putting ads on it, and there was nothing he could do about it, right? So there's that too. But the earlier that somebody got on YouTube, the earlier when it first started, a lot of them, and as long as they kept it up, they have millions of subscribers and making millions of dollars. They stuck with it. They had a good niche, and those are the older ones that got started right away. I think I just got in under the wire. I seriously did. I started my channel 4 years ago. There were already quite a few van life channels already there. So, yeah. But as far as taxes go, you are considered, deal with it as if you were self-employed. Okay? And keep track of everything. I do suggest getting QuickBooks Self-Employed. Yeah. And start keeping track of all of your expenses that have to do with your channel. And there's quite a few. This is from, oh, I didn't get your name, but let me know if it's you. Minivan Lee, knowing what you know now, if you had to start all over again at, say, age 20-ish, fresh into living in a minivan, what would you do? Where would you go? How would you make money? What job would you have and hold? Would you try to travel more? Well, that would have been nice to have a YouTube way back in 72. Oh, yeah. Because I traveled to Germany with my husband. Oh, that would have been a great channel, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would have been great. And so I have traveled. I've traveled within Europe. And I was in Germany for 2 years, lived there, and I didn't live in the barracks. We lived off base. And we lived in a little town, a really sweet, charming little town. And we rented from a charming older lady who normally rented to Americans. Because she knew that the rent was always going to be there. And she sort of had a house. She had a home here, and it was all gated in. And then there was another home here. There was a downstairs, and then the stairs went up, and there was an upstairs. But it was originally a house, but it was divided up. And the bigger house was down below. That's the one that my husband and I had. So I actually have traveled, and that would have been a nice YouTube channel, wouldn't it have been? Oh my gosh. And then we came back to the States. We were happy to come back, sort of. After I got back, it was shocking. You know, there's so much more architecture going on in Europe than here. When I came back, it almost looked like gray skies. You know, everything seemed to be, it wasn't as gorgeous. And it was a little bit shocking. It took a good year after that to settle back in. And it really did. I think I went through a little bit of depression coming back. But had I not done that, I probably wouldn't go into a van because, you know, my goal, I don't know, my inner goal, inner desire was to have children, and I don't think they would have been done well in a minivan. Yeah, I have 4 children, and I'm glad I do. I love my kids, and I wouldn't have, it was a lot of work, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything. So this might be a fantasy question, but if you're asking me, moi, no, I wouldn't have moved into a minivan. Now, if you wanted me to just make into a dream, and I don't know, that would have been interesting. There were nomads back then. They were usually in VW buses, and they were hippies traveling around, you know, going out to California, and they would sleep on the beach and everything like that. So and what else? What job would you have and hold? Yeah, because you'd have to have a job. If you're younger, you have to have a job. I really, it's a good question. And would I build up to something else? I ask as a way for you to share your knowledge you gained over the many years you have on a person who is much younger and starting out. Thoughts? Well, here's the thing. I will tell you what, if you're young, okay, this is going to be advice coming from me. I'm just going to say it. If you're young and you want to get started in the minivan life, you really do have to think about it. Because what if you want to meet somebody? It's not easy meeting somebody out here and getting married. It's really not. And a lot of times if you want to meet somebody who's still in the house, they're going to look at you and think, well, you live in a car. What, no, you'd have nothing to offer me. And I will mention that, do you know who Will Prowse is? He is like the solar expert now, but he was a nomad and he lived, and I learned a lot from him. I really did like his channel. Now he still has a channel, but he's in a home, and he's got a really nice house and making buku bucks talking about solar. He has become an expert on the solar, and my solar that's taped up on my roof, I did it because he did it. That's what he did when he was a nomad. But I remember a couple of episodes, he met a gal, and he stayed at her house every once in a while, but she broke up with him, and it was because he lived in a van. So I'm not so sure I would suggest it unless you know you want to remain single. This is just my advice. You probably have another idea, and maybe somebody else has a different idea too. But it's not easy, especially if you're young. And some of those gals are going to look at you and go, no, thank you. Unless that's something they really wanted to do together. Yeah. And sometimes that doesn't always work out. If you want to get married and being in the same rig together, no. I don't think it works out. You unless you've been married a long time, you're going to get on each other's nerves. You're going to get on each other's nerves, and you're not going to be used to it yet. No. So I would say if you're young and you're thinking about doing this lifestyle, you must know that you want to remain single, that the single life is for you, because it's not going to be easy matching up and doubling up with somebody. Yeah, connecting up. So there you go with that. And when you're younger, you still have to work. I at least have some Social Security coming in as a net. It's a safety net. So if you're younger, here's what I'm going to say. Work your butt off, and you're single, and save your money. Just start stashing, or maybe not even stashing it away, but start buying stuff. Because prices keep going up. In a year, so buy what you think you might need, and start saving up for a nice ProMaster, something like that. Or, a minivan is fine too. Get a nice, newer minivan, and just start working and getting yourself a really nice savings. Then venture out. And if you wanted to start a YouTube channel at that point, while you're not there yet, you can start talking about you're getting these things together. You can just start a channel. You don't have to be out on... if you can see, I don't do a lot of traveling, right? But if you have a good enough personality and you like to edit videos and you like to talk in front of people and you're not shy, and you've got some chutzpah, in back of you, you can get some viewers and start building them up then when you get going out there. So yeah, there's my suggestion for you. Okay, this is running long. I love you guys. I hope you found this interesting. I think everything that I talked about was interesting. I really do. Yeah. So how do you like your tea? The Twillings loose tea. I like the system. It's a little different, but I'm going to see you tomorrow, okay? Please subscribe. And here's another thing, too. If you have it in your heart and you want to support me, a lot of people do support their the YouTube channels that they really enjoy. Go to minivanlee.com, click on gifts. I get 100% of everything. That's why I don't use Patreon. I don't want you to be paying Patreon. If you want to gift to me, and I get 100% of it. And there's all kinds of amounts, $5, $10. Thank you so much. It really is appreciated. Let's see what else. I think that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye now. Bye.